All right, there will be no fancy intro for this. That was an experiment that went all it could not have gone any worse. So apologies for that, everybody. Thank you for if you stuck around and waited for us to figure this all out. Much appreciated. Super thankful for you guys for sticking around. Because again, like I said, technology is not our friend today. And you know what? I think I can actually take these out because I don't need them anymore. Again, super thankful for all of you that stuck around. Much appreciated. Let's just jump into your questions. Because that again, we are now behind. We are now behind. Goose the dog, Tet, Sutton, Myers, London, and Judkins. Pick 3 in PPR. The 3 for me are going to be London, Tet, and Sutton. Judkins would be next, and then Myers. I think Sutton and Tet in London probably give you the best chance of game-changing weeks, helping you win your week this week. Not that Judkins and Myers don't. Those are definitely more kind of floor plays in my opinion. Trevor, good to see you, my guy. Flex in PPR. Rashid Shaheed or Travion in another league. T or Kamara. Between all of those, let's do this. For your first one, between Rashid Shaheed and Travion Henderson, I'm going to go Travion Henderson. And then in the other league, T. Higgins and Alvin Kamara, we're going to go Alvin Kamara. I know it hasn't been great, but T. Higgins has also not been great. So there's don't know exactly how we can how reliable we can look at T. Higgins right now. Jordan Mason, Hampton, Rome, or Ibuka. Yes, Mason is playing right now. So hopefully you didn't have him in your lineup because it has been an absolute stinker for all Vikings players this morning because, well, yeah, maybe everything wasn't as good as we thought it was after last week. 24-6 right now. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Mighty unfortunate. Let's do this. Cooper the dog, good to see you. Kyle Pitts or David Njoku. Between the two of them, I've still got faith with David Njoku. I briefly talked about Kyle Pitts in the last stream. I'm actually going to try not to refer to that stream at all because that was an absolute faceplant of an attempt. But I would say it's David Njoku for me. There's nothing wrong with Kyle Pitts. And maybe the best way to look at it is this: if you want the certainty, if you want the certainty, play Kyle Pitts. I'm going to take the chance that David Njoku in a negative game script is going to find a lot of work this week against Detroit. Appreciate all of you guys. Let's do, okay, I'm going to try to get the most recent comments now that we're pretty much caught up now, but Chuba from Wiggity Wiggles. Chuba Hubbard or Drake London in the flex. I think if it's PPR, you go Drake London, and if it's half PPR, you go Chuba Hubbard. But even still, I might still give the edge to Drake London, even if it's half PPR. It's not been great. Hopefully it turns around this week. Atlanta going against Washington. Maybe I've still got some faith in Drake London, but maybe he could make me look a fool this week and throw up another dud. Radley, hey dude, do I start Tet or Debo in full PPR? I just noticed Christian Gonzalez came back and I'm worried for Tet. Personally, between the two of them, I'm still going Tet. Not that I don't think Debo Samuel. That is just my preference. If you are worried enough about Christian Gonzalez, I think it's a-okay to go Debo Samuel. So I would still throw in Tet McMillan. You don't have to listen to what I say. You can, if you personally are more concerned about Christian Gonzalez than I am, go play Debo Samuel. There's zero gripes from me about that. You'd face Quinshon Judkins or Chase Brown. Just going to take a look at our rankings, which, by the way, you can get every single week over on our Discord page. It's absolutely free. You get top 24 quarterbacks and tight ends and top 40 receivers and running backs. Between Chase Brown and Quinshon Judkins, I would lean Chase Brown because I am not banking on last week being the norm. I'm actually thinking that It'll come back to what we saw against Jacksonville. And then Quinshon going against Detroit may not be the most friendly of game scripts for him to work with. Watt Productions in the flex, George Pickens, Ashton Genty, BTJ, or Garrett Wilson. I would order it like this. I would go Garrett Wilson, then Brian Thomas Jr., Ashton Genty, and George Pickens. Deckers on YouTube, Trey Tucker or Jameson Williams. I'm going to go with Jameson Williams. I'm just going to shoot for the upside. I think Trey Tucker, besides last week, hasn't really done enough for me to warrant a start just yet. So I would go JMO. Just understanding though that the downside might be 4 points, but the upside is way better than what Trey Tucker. I'm assuming 3 touchdowns is not going to happen again anytime soon. Dami over on YouTube, choose 2, please, in full PPR. Emeka Egbuka, Ted McMillan, Quinshon Judkins, Quentin Johnson. I would go with Emeka Egbuka, and I would go with Ted McMillan, and then Quentin Johnson, and then Quinshon Judkins. D-backs on YouTube, Jameson Williams or Jalen Waddle. I'm probably going to go Jalen Waddle on that one. At least Waddle has a little bit more of a floor, and the ceiling is a handful of point of a difference between him and JMO. So I would go with Waddle on that one. Name my team is Josh Allen, Kamara, Genty, Amon Ra, JSN, AJ Brown, Tucker Kraft. Who should I trade to get a running back? Because I need one bad and set my lineup. All right, well, okay. Who should you trade? I would package up probably like AJ Brown and Michael Pittman Jr. on a good week to go get one of those running backs because AJ Brown still has enough name value. In your lineup, I think I would start. I'm going to keep it the way it is right now. I wouldn't force any of the wide receivers in over anyone else. Wandale or Kyle Pitts, NFL fan. Yes, sorry about this. We got your question and we tried to answer it before our software decided to just absolutely poop out on us. Go Wandale on this one. Not that Kyle Pitts is Xavier Scott touchdown for the Vikings. Gross. 8 targets for Xavier Scott. That's insane. Does he lead? Jefferson has 10 targets. Yikes, man. That's the Carson Wentz experience, I guess. Kyle Pitts hasn't really given you much other than like he's on the field a lot more, which is cool, but it hasn't translated to targets just yet. Wandale with a new quarterback. Why not take the shot? I think the YouTube comments. You think the YouTube comments? What, did I miss something? D-backs on my trade to Dunze for Tet. I get Tet. Is that fair? It's I think it's a little tough right now. Second half of the year, it probably is going to even out a little bit. But right now, I think it's hard to give up a Dunze right now, just with the wide receiver 1 spot that he seemingly has on lock right now there. Dakota on Facebook, would you play Ricky Pearsall or Kyron in the flex? I would go with Kyron personally. I just think high scoring game, Rams and Colts. I have no problem going with Ricky though. I love myself some Ricky Pearsall, but I would go with Kyron Williams on that one. Dylan in YouTube, Tony Pollard or Lat McConkey in half PPR. I'm still going Lat McConkey. I know it has not been great. It's not been exciting the first 3 weeks of the year. Good games are coming for Lat McConkey. So as frustrating as it may be, keep the faith with Lat McConkey. It'll get here eventually. DB edits, Travion or Calvin Ridley, please. I'm probably going to go Travion. I don't really have much interest in Calvin Ridley at this point. I know he's been one of the, he has, I'm pretty sure he has, I'm pretty sure he has led the team in every single game in targets. If not, then he's like top 2. Hasn't resulted in anything yet. And I don't really have a whole lot of faith with Tennessee going to Houston today. So I'm gonna go Travion on that one. Nate on YouTube, Travion or Kamara. I still gonna go Kamara just on the hope that there's a game script that actually gets him some receiving work. It's tough. And with Travion, I'm not exactly forcing Travion into my lineup just yet. There was a quote, or Mike Vrabel came out, I think it was during the week or within the last couple of days, and said that like Ramondre isn't exactly going to be serving a punishment or is going to be like disciplined in this game, because he kind of already did last week, because he only played 5 of the remaining like 30 something snaps. So he did kind of serve the punishment last week. So I'm not exactly forcing Travion into my lineup, because I want to see a week of a shifted backfield before I have any thank you, you're welcome. Before I have any what's the word? Security maybe in starting in starting them. So Dobby, QJ or T-Mac, between the two, I'm going to go T-Mac. Don't be surprised. I wouldn't be. How do I say this without it being like, well, then why shouldn't I just start Quentin Johnson? I'm not going to be surprised if Quentin Johnson has another good game today, but I think that this is the week where we get a Ted McMillan kind of emergence, I should say. Michael McCorkle on YouTube, Devonta Smith or Javonte Williams. I'm going to go Devonta Smith. I really don't want anything to do besides George Pickens when it comes to Cowboys players today. I going up against Green Bay. Chris on YouTube, BTJ or Emeka Egbuka and PPR. I'm going to go with Emeka Egbuka. Maybe I'm letting recency bias take my thoughts here on this one, but Philly and Tampa is usually a good Tampa Bay game. When with no Mike Evans, excuse me. I know Chris Godwin. I believe Chris Godwin is playing. I guess I haven't seen confirmation on it, but I'm pretty sure he's playing. So I'm still going to go with Emeka. He's going to be the lead guy there for shoot. What am I trying to say? He's going to be the lead guy for Tampa. So Mike on YouTube, Breece Hall or Johnson in the flex, and do I dare bench Henry for Hall? I would not bench Derrick Henry. I think in the flex, I think if it's I'm confident in Breece this week going against Miami, because Miami's run defense is not exactly great. So I'm probably going to say Breece, but I really have no complaints if you're going to go with Quentin Johnson. Darian on Facebook picked 2 between Tet, Ladd, Nico, and Adunze. I'm probably going to go Nico and Adunze on that one. Let's see here. Trevor, my guy, this is ugly. This is an ugly question in the flex. In PPR, Njoku, Trey Tucker, Stephon Diggs, RJ Harvey. I'm probably going to go David Njoku. I don't think anyone besides Njoku gives you much of doesn't really give you like an edge. There's not an edge that any of them have over each other. Sure, you can say that Trey Tucker, right, based on last week, but I don't think that's repeatable. So I'm probably going to just take Njoku. Nate P, should I try trading AJ for Hampton? I think you should. I think if you can pull that off. Luke in the Luke on YouTube, I should say, in the flex, Ridley or Alec Iomanner. I have to say the full name. I can't say one name or the other. I don't know why. I have to say the entire name so I can say it correctly. Ridley or Alec Iomanner. I'm going to go, if you have to choose between the two, I'm probably going to go with, probably going to go Ridley. I maybe go look at waivers real quick before games get going. Baseball shorts start 2 in the flex and PPR and return yards. Judkins, Henderson, Franklin, or Turpin. I'm going to, in that situation, I'm going to go the 2 running backs. I'm going to go with Judkins and Henderson. Bucky Productions over on YouTube. Caleb Williams or Fields, Nick Chubb or Chase Brown, Ladd McConkey or Quentin Johnson. Your quarterback question, I'm going to go Caleb Williams. Your running back question, I'm still going to go Chase Brown. Wide receiver, I'm going to go Ladd. Jet, oh my gosh, what happened? What happened? Professor Ethan on YouTube, Tet or BTJ. Between those two, I'm going to go with Tet McMillan. I know a lot of people still have faith in Brian Thomas Jr. I need to see it first. Let's see here. There we go. Jackson on YouTube, Chuba Hubbard or Matthew Golden. I'm going to go Chuba Hubbard. Just going to take the guarantee. Not going to surprise me, Matthew, if this is a decent Matthew Golden game, but I want to see it first. I know it's been changing and moving in favor of Matthew Golden in terms of snaps and all that stuff, but I want to see it actually happen first. Logan on Facebook, Jamar Chase or Cortland Sutton. I'm still going to go Jamar Chase. If there's a guy that's going to get the ball in Cincinnati, hello. If there's a guy that's going to get the ball, it is going to be Jamar Chase. So the ceiling definitely took a hit, but that's where we're at. Cheesesteak dude, start 2 in the flex. Kamara, Monty, Kraft, Worthy, Olave, also Knicks or Goff this week. My vote would be Jared Goff at the quarterback spot in 2 in the flex for you. I would probably go. Oh, can I go Tucker Kraft? I would definitely do Chris Olave for sure for one of them. Gosh, Kenny Gainwell, have a day. Probably Tucker Kraft in the other one. I don't hate. Yeah, let's go with that. Dami on YouTube, Quinshot Judkins or Javonte Williams. Between those two, I'm probably gonna go Javonte. Ryan on YouTube, I've seen your question a couple times now. Devontae Adams or Cam Scatteroo, just worried about the hamstring. I think that's understandable. I'm still going to start Devontae Adams, though. Trevor, thanks, Big Dog. Also received a trade this morning. I lose McConkey, receive Kamara. However, my running back 2 is Chase Brown. McCaffrey, my running back 1. My receivers are Collins, Tet, Evans, Diggs, Tucker. It's a double flex. Personally, I would not. I've got faith in Lab McConkey eventually like turning this around and eventually kind of giving you a fantasy performance. Until and Kamara really hasn't done anything. There's no guarantee with Kamara either at this point, which is weird. For most of his playing career, he was a guarantee. That's no longer the case right now. So I would hold, and I would probably target another running back with one of those receivers. But the package, it would just get so complicated because I mean, like, you're not trading Tet. I wouldn't trade Evans. Obviously, you can't do Evans right now because he's out. You're not trading Collins. I think you're just kind of stuck right now, unfortunately, and you just got to let it play out a couple more weeks. TWA on YouTube, Emeka or Garrett Wilson. I would go with Garrett Wilson. Don't hate Emeka Egbuka, but I would go with Garrett Wilson on that one. Ryan on YouTube, do I trade Achane for Jalen Warren and Adunze? Getting Warren and Adunze? No, but if you're getting Achane for Adunze and Warren, I would do that. Sam on YouTube, Henderson, Bill Krosky, RJ Harvey, Isaiah Pacheco, and Bashal Tude. I would go with Travion in that case. Just because, again, that's all that you got. PC on YouTube, Lat McConkey or Tet McMillan. I would still go with Tet McMillan. Lat McConkey. I would do Lad on that one. Ryan, I'm giving Achane. Okay, bet. Yeah, I would not give up Achane for those guys. TWA, Jordan Love or Baker Mayfield. Between those two, I'm going to go with Baker. I don't hate Jordan Love, but there's no guarantee that Jordan Love is exactly going to have a great fantasy game. Baker, I think right now it has to be on the arm of Baker Mayfield. Baseball shorts, Penix or Dak this week. If Penix drop Franklin or Turpin for him. Gosh, is that really the best option you got on waivers for quarterbacks right now? Are like if those are your 2 roster quarterbacks, I would drop Penix and go find another quarterback. if you can get like a Geno Smith, I would do Geno Smith. Let's see here. Jet, why won't he answer my question, man? I need it. Put it in the chat. Put it in this chat, and I'll get to it. Ryan, Ricky, or Emeka Egbuka. Between those two, I'm going to go with Emeka Egbuka. Stafford is the best available. Gosh. I'm going to go Stafford. I would drop Penix for Stafford and start Stafford, honestly. I got little faith with Dak this week, and Stafford in a high-scoring game. Yeah. Bulldog, Bryce Young, or Michael Penix. I would go with Bryce Young. Don't really feel great. Again, if there's Geno, if Geno is available, I would drop Penix and go pick up Geno and play Geno. You're going to hear me say that a lot. If you got some of those kind of like quarterback 2 questions, I'm going to say go find Geno Smith and play Geno Smith. Zay Flowers or Javonte Williams in PPR. I'm going to go Zay Flowers. Has not been great the last couple weeks, but maybe against Kansas City, they need to get Zay Flowers going. Sam, Ted, Pearsall, or Cortland Sutton. Between those 3. Oh, man. I love me some Ricky Pearsall. I would probably go Ted, Ricky, and then Cortland Sutton. Benjamin Black on YouTube, Chase Brown, Tony Pollard, Keenan Allen. I would go with Keenan Allen on that one. Topher on YouTube, Flex, Juwan Jennings, Javonte, or T. Oh, man. Javonte. Probably Javonte. Just take what you know. Honestly, that's probably the best way to look at it. Jet, London, Ted, Egbuka, Sutton, Michael Pittman, Breece Hall. Choose to bench. The 2 that I'm benching out of this equation are probably Michael Pittman Jr. and Cortland Sutton. Those would probably be the 2 that I would bench. Yeah, Pittman and Sutton are the 2 I would bench. Tyreek or Pittman, what do you think? I think you're going to still go with Tyreek. As much as I like Michael Pittman this week, I think you still got to go with Tyreek on that one. Tommy on YouTube, we're Ridley or Pacheco in the flex. Can you give me some guys that are available on waivers? Because I don't like either of them. If you're stuck between those 2, I'm probably going to say Ridley, but I just don't feel great about what Ridley's going to give you. Both are garbage. No, that sucks. I mean, if there's like a Rashid Shaheed, I would do Rashid Shaheed. If there's a Matthew Golden available, I would do Matthew Golden. I mean, I'm throwing out a ton of names. If there's Wandale, I would even do Wandale. But I think, again, if it really is garbage and there's just absolutely no hope, I think you got to go with Calvin Ridley. Score on YouTube, Jalen Waddle or Keenan Allen. Between those 2, I'm going to go with Keenan Allen. Ryan, do I pick up Mark Andrews? I don't know, because likely might come back. I don't think so. I think... Wow, Pittsburgh went for it on 4th and goal from the 3. Got stuffed, and then Addison 80-yard touchdown. Or 80-yard catch. Jeez. They need to score. Oh, Jordan Mason got stopped at the 1. That sucks. Gosh, they need to score. Back to questions. Do I pick up Andrews? I don't think so. I'm worried that things are going to change again with likely back in the lineup. Sidekick on YouTube, full PPR start to JMO, Devonta, Coleman, or Matthew Golden. If I'm starting 2, I'm probably going to start JMO and Devonta. If you don't have faith in either one of them, I would then go Matthew Golden. Bro, I sat Addison and am trading him. How do I say this? That's, if the deal is not already agreed, that's probably the best thing for you. Because right now in PPR, he has 15 points, right? 15.4. Over, what is that? I can't do math. 9 points came from one catch. That's the best thing that could have happened in terms of a value boost. So it sucks that you sat him this week, but like the price just went up in my book. If you can get people to look past that one play, that's gold. Javonte or Chuba, because Chuba is consistent. I would go with Chuba Hubbard as well, just for that. Michael McCorkle, again, Keenan Allen, Jacoby Myers. I would go with Keenan Allen. Will on YouTube, Zay Flowers, Emeka Egbuka, Roma Dunze, Jacoby or Javonte. Pick 2 to bench. The 2 that I'm benching are Javonte. Oh, would I bench Flowers or Jacoby? I think because you have Rome and Emeka, go with Jacoby. Jacoby's got the floor that Zay Flowers doesn't have. You don't exactly need ceiling with Zay Flowers, if that makes sense. You've got the ceiling already with Emeka and Odunze. Give yourself a more sure thing with Jacoby. So the 2 I would bench, Zay Flowers and Javonte. Now, if you were to look at my rankings, you would see that I've got Jacoby behind Zay Flowers. But again, this is where fantasy strategy comes into it. Like I said, you have the ceiling already. You don't need to push for ceiling even more. Good trade. I got Kraft and Chubb for Ferguson. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. Hudson on YouTube. Calvin Ridley, Keenan Allen. Between those 2, it's Keenan Allen for me. Sam on YouTube, Chris Olave, Matthew Golden. I'm going to go with Chris Olave. Score, I'm trading Jordan Addison and Nick Chubb for Ken Walker. Beautiful. That is an awesome deal for you. I love that. Yes, that's a great trade. I traded Emeka for Chase Brown before game time last week. Did I mess up bad? Oh, I think you did. Oh, no, I think you did. No. Oh, no. You just got to hope that Mike Evans comes back quickly and that Cincinnati gets their run game going. Insinuous on YouTube, Matthew Golden and Xavier Worthy. I'm going to go with Xavier Worthy somehow. I've got more faith that a guy without what's the muscle that he's not playing without right now? I've got more faith in him than Matthew Golden. This could change next week. You could ask me the same question. I might say Matthew Golden, but I need to see a Matthew Golden game first. Sports on YouTube, Chuba Hubbard or Tet in full PPR. I'm going to go with Tet McMillan. Ravi on YouTube, how's it going? Need a flex in full PPR. Keon Coleman, Jameson Williams, David Montgomery, Chris Godwin, also for tight end. Strange or likely. Chubb, likely. Chubb, also Drake May or Jordan Love. Quarterback, you're going to go Drake May. Tight end, you're going to go Brenton Strange. In your flex, I'm going to go Jameson Williams. On that. Ryan, do I start Chase Brown because he's not been doing that good recently? I would bench for Javonte or Judkins. I would do Chase Brown for Judkins. But at the same time, if you're so worried about the floor with Chase Brown, I think it's okay to play Judkins and Javonte. I don't have any gripes about that. I just personally am going to rely on Cincinnati kind of being more, having more of the ball. I think is the best way to say it. But again, if you're too scared off by the performances of Chase Brown so far, and that you need to see a game to warrant another start, I think having Javonte and Judkins as the kind of backups or as your pivot options is a-okay. I would not be mad over that. Nathan on YouTube, Judkins over Brown till see Brown do any. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm okay with Chase Brown. That doesn't mean that you have to be, though. Do you think there's a chance Worthy is a complete decoy and gets like one target though? Yes. Unfortunately. But at the same time, you could say that for Quinn Johnson. Could say that for, you could really say that for anybody, but I understand where the question is coming from. So yes, the floor is probably a little bit lower this week with Xavier Worthy. But I'm not like, I think there are certain situations where you can get by with a Xavier Worthy start. Nicholas on YouTube, Cortland Sutton, Roma Dunze, Tyreek Hill, Ricky Pearsall, which 3? Roma Dunze, Tyreek, and Ricky Pearsall. Those are the 3. Gosh, Kenny Gainwell, is that now 94 yards for Kenny Gainwell? And Minnesota tried to onside it. Let's see here. They need to get Chase Brown used in the passing game more. That's a superpower. This is true. I don't understand why Chase Brown hasn't really gotten utilized in the receiving game, but now that Jake Browning's there, I don't want to say it's a tall ask, but it's kind of a long shot, in my opinion. Carlos on YouTube, Ricky Pearsall or T-Mac in PPR. I'm going to go Ricky Pearsall on that one. No, wait, didn't I just answer that earlier? I would go Tet. I would go Tet still, but I like me some Ricky Pearsall. That's the problem. Like, these are 2 players that I really like. So maybe the best answer, you can't really go wrong, and maybe that's not the most helpful answer, but I think maybe here's the selling point. Ricky Pearsall playing with Jawan Jennings, beginning Brock Purdy back, but Jawan Jennings maybe likely in that, or maybe like limited in that one. T-Mac does have a matchup now with Christian Gonzalez, but the coverage still hasn't been great. So I think you can get by with a Ricky start. T-Mac could absolutely fall flat on his face, make me look like a fool. So you can go Ricky. I think it's fine going either way. Professor Ethan Scadaboo or Quinshon Judkins. I would probably go Quinshon Judkins on that one. I would like to see a game from Cam Scadaboo that does not involve a ton of receiving work to know that like that wasn't just a fluke game against Kansas City. Let's see here. Isa on YouTube, George Pickens, Alvin Kamara. I'm going to go George Pickens. I know it's scary against Green Bay. Kamara hasn't really not done anything. Tet most likely has Gonzalez on him, may lean Ricky. I think if that's ultimately the selling point, it's a-okay to go Ricky then. I'm not going to bat an eye at it. Insinuous gain to sub, you're awesome. Hey, appreciate that, man. If you're not subscribed, if you're not following us along, hey, come along for the journey. We do these every single week. And then we do videos every single week. We do minute-long videos every single day. We try to help you out. We try to give you the most amount of information possible to help you make the most informed decisions, but then ultimately having those decisions leading you to success in your leagues. And so if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Greatly appreciate it. It goes a long way. Jordan on YouTube, start 2 between Tet, Ibuka, and BTJ. I'm for sure starting Emeka Ibuka. I would still have faith in Ted McMillan, but I think you can also do a BTJ. And I won't say that's a horrible decision. Like, I think it's fine. You can do Emeka and BTJ. My vote would be Ted and Ibuka, but go ahead and do BTJ if you're not. Again, if you are worried by the Christian Gonzalez piece. 3rd and 2, and Vikings are out of timeout. So first down for Pittsburgh ends the game. Eric Devonta Smith or Cortland Sutton. Between those two, I'm going to go with Cortland Sutton. Luis on Facebook, Cortland Sutton, Ted McMillan. I would go with Ted McMillan. MK9, shoot your question over and I'll answer it. There we go. Ramondre, Trey Tucker. Probably Ramondre. Give me some waiver options. Will, again, do I start Dak versus Green Bay, or do I pick up someone like Tua, Dart, Young, Penix, Browning, Ward, or Flacco? 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1 for the Vikings. I'm probably still going to lean Dak. Yeah, it's scary. It's real scary. We love a defense. We love a defense question. Lions defense, Eagles defense. I am going to go Lions defense on that one. Another defense question. Here we go. Bills defense or Broncos defense. Broncos going against Cincinnati at home. Give me the Broncos. Give me the Broncos. Christian in YouTube, start 2 in PPR. Chuba Hubbard, Lab McConkey, Keenan Allen, Tyreek, and Harold Fannin. In PPR, I'm going to go with Lad and Tyreek. I think Keenan has been doing it though lately, and they stopped him. Wow. Hello. I think I would go Lad and Tyreek because I've still got faith that, like, hey, for whatever reason, it's just not Lad getting the ball. It will get to him eventually, and that he will have a game. But if you're not confident in that happening this week, go ahead and start Keenan. Go ahead and start Keenan Allen then. Christopher, I desperately started Gainwell. You look like a super genius right now. You look like a super genius. Robbie over on Facebook, Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker, Jalen Waddle, or Ricky Pearsall in full PPR. I will order this for you. Ricky Pearsall, Jacoby Myers, Jalen Waddle, Trey Tucker. That's how I would order it. Eric on YouTube, David Njoku or Harris Jr. at tight end. Who is Harris? Who's Harris? Oh, is it? No. Pittsburgh go for the jugular. Delay game. Oh, just a punt. Oh, I'm probably going Njoku. Justin Herbert, Jordan Love. I would go with Justin Herbert. There it is. Harold Fannin or David Njoku. Go Harold Fannin. Go with Harold Fannin. We'll appreciate all of the help, of course. Like I said, we do this every week. So if you want just a final piece of advice on starts and sits, on trades, on waivers, all that stuff, we do this every single week. It may not be me, but it will be one of us. It will be one of me, Lucas, and Cam. Oh, and touchback on the punt. So 1 minute and 6 seconds for Carson Wentz to go the length of the field. Or at least you just tie it up. Let's go. Issa, start Eagles head coach or Lions head coach? Hey? What? Starting head coaches? What? Elijah, thank you. Hanson, Golden, Chase Brown, or Judkins for the flex. Amari and Hampton. It would be Amari and Hampton for me. Who's higher in your rest of season rankings? Quinshon Judkins or Trey Benson? Fantastic question. We are now getting to that point where we can start looking for rest of the year stuff. You'll hear us talk about a lot in our podcast episodes, which, again, by the way, you should subscribe. We get those. We do 3 episodes a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for you. You will hear us start talking a lot more about the remaining strength of schedule, fantasy strength of schedule, I should say, because you may see like division leading team having the most difficult fantasy schedule and going like, what? How does that make sense? Fantasy schedule. So at this point, we can start looking forward to rest of the season stuff. So between the two, I would go with Quinshon Judkins rest of the year. Dami, all right, I'm really stuck. So one final time, T-Mac, Judkins, or QJ in full PPR. I really like Judkins, but I don't think the game script for him. Yes, I would agree. So because of that, I would go with T-Mac. If you're worried, I've been saying this a lot this stream. If you're worried about the Christian Gonzalez matchup for Tet in this New England game, could you get away with Quentin Johnston this week? He's probably like the last name of guys, like the list of like 7, 8 guys. I would be okay with playing over Tet if you're too worried about the Christian Gonzalez matchup. Yeah, who would have thought? Carson Wentz throwing 3 picks. Who would have thought? Toy Mater on YouTube. Lions defense or Packers defense in full PPR. Packers defense. Packers defense this week might just be the number 1 unit this week with Micah Parsons. Oh, they overturned it. Oh, they overturned it. Oh, let's go. Deebo Samuel or Khalil Shakir this week. I'm going to go with Deebo Samuel. QJ is always open. It's crazy. Imagine if his hands were just a little wee bit better. Facts. Facts. Ooh, another kicker question. Brandon Aubrey or Cameron Dicker? I would go with Cameron Dicker. Probably. Mike Duke on YouTube, Mason Taylor, Evan Ingram, or Tommy Tremble in PPR. I think if there is if Zach Ertz is somehow available, if Cade Otton is available, or you know what? Can we get crazy with this one? We're gonna get a little crazy with this one. If Oronde Gadsden is available in your league, I would pick him up and I would play him this week. When your options are Mason Taylor, Ingram, and Tommy Tremble, I would go and just dart throw because the rest of them are dart throws. I would drop Tommy Tremble to go pick up Oronde Gadsden of the Chargers and play Oronde Gadsden this week. Call me crazy. But again, when they are all dart throws, why not take another dart throw for the guy that's got the matchup? Oh, and Carson Wentz got sacked. Wow, who would have thought? That's what I would do. Excuse me, Ryan on YouTube. Keenan Allen, Chase Brown, or Quinshon Judkins in the flex. I would go with Keenan Allen. Daniel Jones or Gio from Robbie over on Facebook. That's a fascinating question. I'm probably going to do Daniel Jones in just high scoring game. If I'm not mistaken, I'm going to confirm this. Indianapolis has they're in the top half of the league in implied team total. So I'll take the points in this game. Dami, this is a team for the week, so please rate Lamar, Kyron, and Javonte Williams, Nico and Ibuka, McBride, QJ in the flex. I got CD and Ted on the bench. The only thing is like Ted over QJ, and again, QJ I mentioned is one of the names that I'm okay if you play him over Ted McMillan because you're worried about the Christian Gonzalez matchup. So I'll give that like a solid 7.5 out of 10. Solid. Gosh, Xavier Scott has 6 catches for 43 yards. That's wild. So Fannin over Njoku, I would do a Fannin over Njoku. Crystal on YouTube, Quinshon Judkins or Travis Etienne in full PPR. We go with Travis Etienne. Tucker Kraft, Mark Andrews, Tucker Kraft for sure. Professor Ethan, should I start Jones over Fields and Stafford? I would start Daniel Jones over them this week as well. RWS, start Scadaboo or Chase Brown. I'm going to start Chase Brown, but this is probably like the last week. This is like last chance for Chase Brown to do something. Otherwise, he will find your bench. Gosh, Carson Wentz intentional grounding. If that's not the most Carson Wentz thing. I have Scott flexing in a dynasty league because I'm crushing injuries. You look like a super genius right now. That is a heck of a play. Maybe you just kind of lucked into it, but hey, sometimes you just need a little bit of luck. Maybe that's it. B. Morales on YouTube, Drake May or Bo Nixon 4-point passing touchdown. I would go with Drake May on that one. Mike Duke on YouTube, again, pick 2 in PPR. Wandale, Rashad Bateman, Darnell Mooney, Tyquan Thornton. Out of those 4, let's go Tyquan Thornton, and let's go Darnell Mooney. Why not? Let's go for it. Shay on YouTube, shout out from Wyoming. Shout out to Wyoming. Appreciate you tuning in. Bench one in full PPR between ETN, Kamara, and Scadaboo. I'm going to bench Scadaboo. I mentioned this earlier. Sorry, I'm seeing the Vikings just ultimately fall flat on their face because Carson Wentz. I want to see it like a more I want to see another game of Scadaboo because I want to make sure that the receiving work sticks or like that it wasn't a fluke, right? That it wasn't just because they were playing the Chiefs and that they couldn't get the ball downfield. So because of that, I'm going to go ETN and Kamara. Jack, Philly quick, Brees Hall or Emeka Ibuka in the flex. I would go with Emeka on that one. Eric, Drake May or Geno Smith. I would go with Drake May. Yep, already got that one as well. RUS, would you trade JSN and Henry for GT? Yeah. More times than not, I will say yes. I hope you got some receivers to play in place of JSN now. Well, sorry. I don't know why I thought it was Hunter Henry. That's definitely Derrick Henry. JSN and Derrick Henry for JT, I would not do. I would not do that one. Cliff on YouTube, Devonta Smith or Travis Etienne in PPR. I'm going to do with Travis Etienne. Nathan with Dart, I think it has a chance it sticks. Sure, then go for it. I don't hate the Scadaboo over Kamara start. I think that's the reason. That is the reason. If you think the receiving work sticks, you start Scadaboo then. I don't think, or am more so, I just want to see a week of it. So, or I want to see another week of it, I should say. What are your predictions for all of the matchups today? Well, I can tell you this. As you can see, I'm a Vikings fan. Let me just say this. When it comes to predicting games, I am the emotional hedger. I always choose against the Vikings because if they win, awesome, my team won. If they lose, well, I got to pick them right. So I had Pittsburgh beating Minnesota today. Rest of the games today, I still have Washington beating Atlanta. I have Buffalo beating New Orleans. I have Detroit beating Cleveland. I have Houston beating Tennessee. New England beating Carolina. The Chargers beating the Giants. I have Tampa beating Philly this week. San Francisco beating Jacksonville. The Rams giving the Colts their first loss. The Ravens over the Chiefs. I have the Bears over the Raiders. I have the Packers over the Cowboys. Then for the Monday night games, I have Miami over the Jets, and I have Denver over Cincinnati. Those are my predictions. I know you asked today, but I gave you the Monday matchups because I'm feeling nice. RGQ half PPR need help starting a flex between Judkins, Chuba, QJ, and Keenan Allen. Essentially, what it comes down to in half PPR is who's going to score. I'm not sure Judkins will score today against Detroit. I'm worried that the game script goes against him. And if he does score, it's a garbage time touchdown, and I'm not banking on garbage time. So I'm going to say it's between Keenan Allen and Quentin Johnson. I think Keenan Allen's the bigger red zone threat here between him and QJ. So I would go with Keenan Allen. Maybe though, but Chuba is just ultra steady. You know what? I'm gonna go with Chuba on actually. Here's how I will order this. I would go Chuba, Keenan Allen, Judkins, and Quinshon Johnson. That's how I would order that. Here we go. I believe the game just ended. Yes, game is now over. So, hey, welcome in. If you just finished watching the Pittsburgh-Minnesota game, welcome in. I'm going to be live for about another 5 minutes or so and give you guys time to then go make changes to your lineups before the games get going. So we'll try to get as many questions in as possible. Rochita on YouTube, Kelsey or Warren at tight end. I'm going to go Tyler Warren, and then one of those. Then one of these two between Quentin Johnson, Khalil Shakir, and Diggs. I would go Quentin Johnson. Michael on YouTube, full PPR in the flex, Isaiah Pacheco or Woody Marks. Go look at waivers. Sam on YouTube, actually think for a second, Shaheed or Coleman, Keon, I think the Saints are going to throw because they'll be down the whole game. Oh, excuse me. Don't need to think about this one because this is exactly my thought as well. I would go with Rashid Shaheed. That's how I would go with it. Did you pray today? I did. BTJ or Chris Godwin, I would go with BTJ. Syed. Hopefully I'm saying one of those. One of those is right. Travion or Jennings in half PPR. Probably gonna. Oh gosh, I'm gonna go Travion on that one. Issa, I usually listen to two fantasy analysts. The first is you. Tell me who has better fantasy advice between Fantasy Endgame and Salvitri. I would go with Endgame personally. That's absolutely no shade to Sal at all. I think Sal is really good as well. I just prefer Endgame, but please listen to them as well. They deserve their listeners and their views as well. Definitely go check them out as well. Hopefully they would say the same about me. Eric on YouTube, Doug Kincaid or Alec Iomanner at the flex. I'm going to go with Kincaid at this point. Hakuna Matata on YouTube. Ricky Pearsall, Chris Olave, Zay Flowers in the flex. I'm going to go Ricky Pearsall on that one. Eric, should I start BTJ over Sutton and Keenan Allen? Go ahead and start BTJ over Cortland Sutton, I should say, excuse me. That's what I would do personally. Devontae Adams or Michael Pittman Jr. starting. If you're choosing between the two, I would go with Devontae Adams. I know a lot of people will say the hamstring. I think he plays like normal. I shouldn't say normal. I just mean like he'll play as if nothing was wrong, if that makes sense. The snaps, that's what I'm trying to say. Chase on Facebook, Nick Chubb, Michael Pittman, or Jacoby Myers. I would go with Jacoby Myers and Michael Pittman. Don't hate if you want to go Michael Pittman, just high scoring game, but I that's what I would do. Big Fat Sigma. I know it isn't for this week, but I have, George Kittle and Tyler Warren. Don't ask how I have both. What should I do? Keep both. Leverage one as trade bait. That's what I would do. Alrighty. 2 more minutes and then I will release you. So we go rapid fire. That's my thing here. We go rapid fire the last 2 minutes. And I'm sorry if I'm not actually calling you out by name. So please, I ask that you pay attention because I may actually have an answer for you to a question. I may not personally just get to your question, but again, you get the point. All right, Higgins, T. Higgins or Ted McMillan. I would go with Ted McMillan this week. Wandale Diggs or Troy Franklin. Let's go Wandale. Are you sure BTJ over Cortland Sutton? I am sure on that one. Out of these three, which two would you start? Chase Brown, David Montgomery, or Quinshon Judkins? I would go David Montgomery. Quinshon Judkins and Chase Brown. That's the one that I would go with. Drake London or Alvin Kamara? I'm going to go with Drake May. No, Drake London. Hello from Mexico. That's what I'm talking about. Shout out to Mexico. Judkins or ETN and PPR. I'm going to go with ETN. Be bold and ride Franklin. Scared of going Diggs and Wandale. If you're scared, go bold. Be bold. I would rather be bold and be wrong than be scared and be wrong. That makes sense. If you're bold and you're right, awesome. So go ahead and ride Franklin. My preference would be Wandale on that one. Godwin or Tet in the flex, I would go with Tet McMillan. Breece Hall or Mecca in PPR, I would go with Mecca Ibuka. Lou, good to see you again, buddy. Already answered that one. Matthew Golden or Juwan Jennings in full PPR. I'm probably going to go Matthew Golden. Why not? Just shoot for the upside there with that one. Chris Olave, Tyreek Hill. I'm going to go with Tyreek Hill. Devonta Smith, Roma Dunze. Still ride the hot hand of Roma Dunze, baby. Chuba Hubbard or Trey Tucker in the flex. We're going to go with Chuba Hubbard on that one. Had to pull Warren, need 2 flex. Why'd you have to? Jalen Warren, need 2 flex. Cedric Tillman, Stephon Diggs, Travion Woody, Ollie Gordon. I would go with Travion Henderson. Honestly, I like Cedric Tillman this week. There's not many guarantees. Let me just say this. There are 0 guarantees with any Cleveland player this week. But if Tillman is the one that actually has the big day on the outside, why not? Juwan is on a snap count today. This is true. JT for JSN and Henry, do I accept? Derrick Henry and JSN for JT? No, I would not do that. Olave or Rome this week, I would go with Rome Dunze. In the last one, Chase on Facebook, Ricky Pearsall, Juwan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall. All right, y'all. That does it for week 4 starts and sits. Much appreciated if you guys tuned in at the very beginning and you stayed, but then you also went through the whole technical difficulty that we had at the beginning. Much appreciated. Thank you for staying tuned or for staying with me on this. We had a couple people talk about them following and subscribing, us being their favorite analysts. Much appreciated. If you want to join us along the ride, it's just 3 guys being dudes and we just talk ball. That's really what it is. And we give some crap to each other along the way. But it's all in good fun because that's what fantasy football is all about. It's about having fun. So if you want to join us, just hit the subscribe button. Absolutely free. It just shows your support, shows you appreciate this kind of stuff that we do. It goes a long way. But I'll just say this too. We wouldn't do any of this if it wasn't for you guys, if it wasn't about you guys at all. So your support goes a long way in whichever way you give, whether that's subscribing, liking our videos. You want to go support our friends over at Underdog with the Cofellas. You support them. You can support us that way too, whichever way you do it. And maybe it's just viewing our videos. Greatly appreciate it. So, alrighty, y'all. We will see you guys next week. We have 3 podcast episodes coming out this week. Obviously, our panic meter. By the way, real quick, if you want to get on the panic meter, which is just instant reactions over the last week of football, go follow us on Instagram. We post panic polls, is what we call them, on our story after every single week. You can use the slider for more panic, the less panicked, all that stuff, and we group your answers and we then talk about it in a podcast episode that goes out on Tuesdays. Best ball in the call, my guy. Appreciate you. So we do those on Tuesdays. On Wednesdays, it's me and Cam. We do trade talk. So again, all of your questions can also be put into the comment section over there. And I think we're going to start a mailbag. We're going to start a mailbag this week. So if you want to get your questions answered, go ahead and drop those in the comments over there. And then on Thursdays is our starts and sets episode that you need for your week of fantasy football. But again, if you don't tune in then and you only tune in for this, we will see you next week. Stay safe, stay healthy, everybody. Let's go win our matchups this week, and we'll see you on the next one. All righty, deuces.